How you guys doing today? Welcome back, or welcome for the first time if you are new. My name is Evan. This is Fifth Third Trading. If you are new here, this is my cat Gremlin or my son Gremlin. Oh, it's a good boy. If you are new here, welcome. You must be a man or a woman of culture because that clickbait bullshit didn't work on you and you like memes instead. If you are new here, I'm going to show you technical analysis. Now, these plays are fundamentally vetted after the fact for my Discord folks and for myself, but you have to do their own fundamentals and your own mental analysis. I do technicals here. What I'm going to talk about is supports, resistances, trend lines, patterns, EMA lines, volume profile, stochastic, RSI, and of course my vortex indicator. These 9 things that I look at during my stock show will show you all the things you have to know about technical analysis and why I like what I like. Now again, I start technical analysis just because if I'm going to start with fundamentals and a play checks out and it looks really good, and I go look at the chart and it's overbought as shit, then why even look at it? That doesn't make any sense. Right? So I always start with my technical analysis, and it checks out, looks really good, I go for it. Then I check my mental analysis, that's all up here. That's going to be on you to learn. I can help you guys with that class I'm making eventually. If it sounds interesting to you, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It is really important to some folks like me and the small content creators who haven't really gotten that massive audience yet to have support. And I mean, I don't mean that just like for me, but like musicians, artists, your local bands, whoever it is. Oh, it's a good boy. Supporting them is really important. So again, if you don't really even care much about what I'm talking about, a like and subscribe does help quite a lot. If you really enjoy this kind of content to the point where you want to be intimate with me and get to know me better, you can actually join our Discord down below. I have a link for my name. It's my actual name, and then number 4698 is my Discord name. Join, say hi to me, join up. I'll give you a 7-day trial. We'd love to have you come check it out. Don't buy anything unseen. I wanted you guys to come check it out first before you go into it. Lastly there's a bunch of great content creators. There's a lot. Now, if you can point me in the direction of somebody who does non-hype swing trades, let me know, because I don't think there's that many of them. But there's folks who do crypto better, day trading better, scalping better, long-term investment better than I do. Now, what I talk about here is a system that can be applied to any of those, but you should really go watch other folks for their content as well. It's non-rivalrous, non-exclusionary. You can watch this video, watch someone else's video, and no one really loses anything. So again, patroning, watching, liking, commenting does help everybody out the most. And if you really like somebody, give them some support. If you don't like them, stop watching them. For real, if someone keeps doing clickbait nonsense, stop watching. It's trash. I'm sorry. I can only hear so much about PLTR in the tech sector and Dogecoin and all these cocky people in crypto talking that good stuff who are now bag holding, who bought at 70K. I hope it wasn't you, but if you want someone to help you really get good at this, stay here and stay tuned. Let's get into it. 8 great tickers a day. Let's check it out. So today we have 8 tickers. I've called one of these before, 7 brand new ones. So with no further ado, let's just get right into it. So our first one's ACHC. But Evan, where's the lines? No one thinks that, I know, but still. So ACHC, let's do the lines together so you know what I'm talking about. First is support. Our first clear support is going to be right about here. All right, it's holding some price. It was a resistance, holding some price action, looking pretty good. I'd also be okay saying that this is our first support, a little bit lower. This is probably a better one. A lot of price action stops here. That looks good. First resistance right here, because this broke down beneath it. This is our first resistance now. Looking pretty dandy like candy. Resistances are orange, supports are white. Our trend line, fairly obvious. Keep up, looking pretty good here. That's a really nice looking trend line right there. So again, you're like, well, it's not ready yet. Sure, you'll see that I usually bake into the cake that I do the show with a little bit of room for it to drop on you, because if I have calls all week, then I have a bunch of great calls that also need a few days to develop. My calls from last Sunday, or from this Sunday, Monday, should be hitting their values now, and you should be watching ACHC for more of a dip too. So this is really good. This is not a perfect trend line. Again, I kind of goofed up a little bit. There we go. So that's probably where you want it. Activate it. Come down just a little bit. Oh, there you go. So all this price action looking really good right here. And when it comes to volume profile, again, I have a whole video on this. I insist you watch it. I'm not going to explain what the shapes mean and what the pillars mean, what the colors mean. But where these two lines are going, this is where 70% of the price action is. Looking good. Right here, this is where 70% of price action is. Again, it's not here nor there. It depends on the ticker. And this is the POC, or the point of control, right here. very gravitational. It's also a very strong resistance and a very strong support. It gives you a good idea of where most volume is, so you have an idea of where you're going to see a lot of folks want to buy and sell it at. What's cool about volume profile as well is you can actually zoom in and see how much volume is by price as well. So again, you can zoom in and check that out too if you want to. So that looks really good. Last thing you want to do is put on the title so I can screenshot this later and not forget, because I'm prone to do so. So ACHC, a gorgeous trend up, but is it a channel up? The way I like to tell is duplicate my bottom line, bring it up and see. Yeah, I mean, you can consider this a channel up. Looks fine. I think possibly there's maybe a broadening wedge here. Maybe there's a normal wedge. Normal wedge here kind of forming. We're going to see. For now, we'll consider a channel up. Is it ready to buy? Not in my opinion, no. Now, if it does, if we check the indicators and there's like an email line here holding it, that's a different story. If this holds tomorrow and we get some kind of bullish engulfing, or we kind of get, you know, a wick down and kind of holds here, okay, that may be a little bit more valid. But it's yet to be a support. I guess you consider this a support, you know, right here and right here. But I see no life hit, no point rushing in quite yet. ACHC, the play for me, is going to be come down maybe, what, 3%, 4%? Come down 2.5%. I'm good at math. 2.5%, get in the support area, this trend line, buy it, because then our risk, 1, maybe even 2% at most. But our first resistance is 4% away. That's a good 2-to-1 play, if not better. ACHC needs a day, but price action-wise, it's a gorgeous one to at least watch. Let's check the indicators. If you're new here, new kid, what's up? You good? All right, as long as you're okay. If you're new, I do not check the indicators while I'm scanning. So I'm going to go through the 10, 50, 200 EMA lines. I'm going to go through RSI, stochastic, and the vortex. I do not check these while I'm scanning. It's 100% off price action. If the price action isn't good, why are you looking at it? If the price action isn't good, why are you running fundamentals on it, right? I want to see that price action looks good and acts good. My cat's knocked this drink over. So again, I do this with you. It's a good little thing that I do. You guys can see what I'm doing. It's pretty cool. Off the bat, it breaks the 50 to come back. It's just broken the 50. Now you have two options. Not calls and puts, but you have options for your decisions. You can either A, wait for this to come back over the 50. Price comes back over the 50 and holds. That's a good sign of confirmation that now you can put your stop loss kind of where, you know, 61.50, 61.30 would be good for a stop loss in this area. So if it breaks back down, you get out, almost no loss, get back in when it crosses back over. That's a very valid strategy. You can also go off of value. Now your value is going to be off of a horizontal support or off of a trend line or just off price action or indicators. So again, if you find your values like 60, 50, and it hits there, go ahead and play off of that. But value is good, or even a crossover, both fine entries. RSI, it's fine, it's low. It usually reverses around this area or much lower. So if it does break down farther, we're going to wait for 33, 32 in the RSI to buy in. Once we get down there, that's good. But if it starts to reverse here, we have a history of reversing in this area, as you can see. So that's a good sign right there. Stochastic is low. It could be a bit lower. Okay, just a tiny bit lower, but that looks pretty good there. No real divergence is happening, but once we see a curl north, you want to see the stochastic come down below negative 40 and start to curl. And when you start to curl north, you're going to see that the blue line will cross over the red line. Once that blue line crosses over the red line, that's a good indication of a trend reversal. And again, it's not perfect, but it's a pretty good indicator. Vortex, green, that's your bulls. They're low volume. Bears are high volume. You want the bears to be up a little bit higher. Realistically, you want to see the bears probably right about here. You want to see the bulls probably right about there. So again, you maybe have another day of pulling back. That's fine. But again, it's a good setup. If you don't like crossover 50 plays, wait for value. If you like crossover plays and not value plays, wait for the crossover. ACHC makes a lot of sense to watch. It has a lot of potential. I like it a lot. Next is CB. Chubb Limited. Chubb. Hey, wait. I actually have Big Chubb. Chubb Limited. So if you actually like the Cleveland Browns like I do, what's up, boy? You like the Steelers, you're probably one of my admin members. Everyone who works with me likes the Steelers. It's a weird combination. But, I mean, they're a good team. You know, XO and XO, my boys. CB, a fantastic trend. Once, twice. Close to 3, 4, 5, 6. It's melting up beautifully. So, again, you may be like, why buy it up here? Well, I bet you're saying the same shit over here. Why'd you buy it all the way up here? You know, because it pushed higher. So, this is a great risk versus reward play. It breaks everything. It breaks these lower lows, 2.24%. Okay, we're not losing sleep over that. Especially if you scale in with half your percent in, like you You want to put $1,000 in, so you put $500 in now. That shit tanks. You lost 4%. That's $20. Who cares, right? And this does make a full move to the resistance. It's a 1-to-1 play. All right, it's not terrible. To get to the same resistances, it's a 4-to-1 play. So again, this is a good setup, low risk, high reward. If CB keeps doing this, check Chubb Limited. If it keeps doing this, keeps pushing higher and higher, right? It likes to kind of follow the S&P fairly quickly and fairly closely. It's testing previous all-time highs. Testing if this starts to hold up here, make a brand new channel. It could be really good. CB survived earnings, looking pretty good. 78 cents dividends, not terrible. It's a good play. Let's check the indicators. Off the bat, the 200s where you're going to find your best value. Now, you see how hard it crashes beneath it? Again, we're not at there, but we have the 50. So once again, you want to wait for a crossover. It gets above the 15 holds. You can go in. See how it didn't live at this resistance here? It crossed over and didn't do what you wanted it to do. Worst case, if your stop loss is there, you lost 1.75%. Again, that's risk management. You don't want to go in unconfident. You don't want to go in scared, but you want to go in with the plan. And so if it does cross 50, you want to put the stop loss, 167, 166 range. That's fine. Let it run. That'd be good stuff. Value, you may get a little bit lower, but again, this is a good value nonetheless. RSI, it's fair. It could be a little bit lower, but again, does it reverse here a lot? Sure. It spends most of its time north of where it is now, so that's a good sign that it could go higher. Stochastic, a bit overbought. You don't want to see that. And then your bulls low, bears high. I think we're due for a little bit more of a pull down, maybe to the 200. I wouldn't rush into this one given where the stochastic is. I don't want to see the stochastic there. It could be a bit goofy though, just because you can see there's an obvious divergence happening. That to that is definitely a divergence that's happening. And so again, you may not see a move now, but that's a clear one. So it may not be here, it may not be today, but CB, given the fundamentals and the technicals here, within the week, hopefully see a big move up. CB, I bet on it. Looks pretty good. So next is CTVA. We just had earnings and it ran down. Dividends also take from most companies' profits and it comes back fairly soon. So again, that's a good sign of temporary drops. This support line, it's not the greatest. We're kind of anticipating it once, twice, 3 times. We're anticipating, so this is much more of a support play, and I think this is going to be a good support area. Right in this area, from like 45.15 to like 44.50, anywhere in here will be a good support play. But it's definitely wedging. All right, this is definitely a good trend line for a wedge. Does this line up okay anywhere else? Not really. Not really. Does it really make a good trend line? Maybe like this would be a fine trend line. But again, it's not really doing what you wanted to do trend-wise. It's not terrible though. This is a really good, POC's above it. That's a rarity, showing a lot of volume up here. If it comes maybe like, a percent lower, let it come percent lower, really mitigate your risk. Then you have a 5-to-1 move to the first resistance. That makes a lot of sense. I think CTVA, a good support play, a good trend play. Let's check the indicators, because those do shed some light on for us. It could be a really good wedge to play. Let's check those real quick. So now we can see, 200 EMA lines, value, close to value, obvious value. So here we go. We once again have options. You're below the 200. If it crosses over the 200 EMA line, you can now play this as a cross play. Put your stop loss somewhere like, at 45.80, 45.70. Then you're only risking 1%. Let it run. That's good. You can see the POCs being a strong resistance. As I said, it kind of consolidates here. Maybe you get above the POC and it dies. 4% for 1%. It's not a bad move. And again, anywhere below the 200 is a good value, so you're already there. So again, you have options. Crossover, value. It's up to you. Obviously, we have a negative 40, negative 64. It reverses a lot in this area on the stochastic. That's a really good sign. I don't see a clear divergence. This is pretty choppy price action. But again, that's a really good sign for how low it is. And then the bulls low, bears high. CTVA checks almost every box. It has great convergence, support, EMA line, trend line, all right here. Looking really good. I do like it a lot to watch. Next is mid. Mid is a lot like CTVA in structure. It's a little bit more, what's the word? It's way more kind of, not steep, but like you want to see your trend line test a little bit more than this. But this is a fine area to be. I think mid has a chance of dropping another 4 or 5% to get back down here. Totally fine. I also think this is going to be a good support eventually, as it's already proven. So mid, again, a low risk play. This all breaks down. You lost 3 or 4%. You can then hopefully hold for the support play. That breaks down. You lost 4%. It's fine. But you get one of these moves, and that's where we're kind of hoping for one of these bad boys. you can get into one of these big moves. Even one of these was still 10%, a nice move here, right? We can easily get 10% to previous highs. That's not crazy to think about. So MIDD, low risk earnings, overreaction possibly. It's coming down. A great support area is coming. Trend that's definitely has higher lows over time. MIDD, I do like it a lot right here. Let's check the indicators. And we can see it does bounce off the 50. It breaks it to come back. I wouldn't play this as a crossover play because that's almost 4% away. It's like half your profit gone, so it's too far away to play off of it. That will be a resistance moving forward, so make sure you watch that because if you do come up and hit that and die, you know why. So make sure your short-term price target is based off of that. But the 200, whenever we get close to it, we can measure that. 7%, 8 or 4.8, 3%, 2%. So we've gotten less and less close to it. We've gotten closer every single time. 4%. So we're getting within that range, right? So it's a good value. Let's see where it shows some life. We got to see some life first. That's a really good sign for the value. RSI, it's low. It reverses here all the time. Looking really good. Stochastic, dummy low. Bulls low, bears high. Great setup. I think we need, this one may really need the indexes to pull it through. We may need to see some good news plus a green day. If this is a red day, this may plummet more than others. So I'd be careful. But middle B, middle buy, middle boo, whatever it is, MIDD, it looks really good to watch at least. I like it a lot. Next is OZON. I was actually watching OZON for this trend line, and then it broke. So here we are with a support play now. OZON, I wish I could see some life. This is a huge sell-off. I wonder why. It's cool because the S&P also sold off pretty bad today. So I'm wondering if maybe with OZON, we see a green day tomorrow, OZON may really outbeat the market and do really well. So I wouldn't bet on that. I'd watch the VIX, and I'd watch the S&P and whatever indexes follows. But it's a really good support play. Again, it's held in this area 3 times now fairly well. It used to stop price action over here fairly well. This is definitely from here to, like, you know, this whole area is kind of where you want to be buying OZON, maybe a little bit higher here. Maybe in this whole area is where you want to be buying OZON. So again, we're right there, looking pretty good. It's a simple support play. Let's see what it can do tomorrow. If it shows some life, it could be a really good buy. Let's check the indicators. So it's pretty clear that it respects the 200, bounces off it like clockwork. Even the 50, it does bounce off and consolidate towards it. Bounce, bounce, bounce. So your short-term price target should not be above the 200. Now again, that's like a 13% move. So again, if you got 13% off a move, you're probably liable to put a stop loss. But again, to secure gains. So again, make sure you watch these two. Could be your short-term price target. RSI is below 30. That's great. Stock is low. That's great. And we can see bulls low, bears high. Again, for a support play, it's really good because of the low risk. If it breaks everything here, like this does break down 3%, you just get out and move on because there's better things to look at. But OZON, I like it a lot. It's a good looking stock. Next is a gorgeous wedge. ROST, Ross Stores Inc. Com. This is a great looking wedge. All right, this is a really good looking resistance trend line and a really good supporting trend line. And again, the reason that's really important is that clarity is key. If you have no idea where the trend lines are, if you have no idea where the supports are, where the resistances are, and that's an amateur mistake. A lot of folks who are new will follow large popular tech plays, and that shit's really not easy to follow, especially if the supports and resistances are really together, and lower lows and lower highs makes it hard. This is a really clear play. It's super easy to play off of. We can see clearly a support right in this area. Right, this is a very beautiful support. Look at this from here. So probably about here. Anywhere in there is a support area. Look at that. Bounces off it beautifully. That's great. You can see a very good resistance area, a good trend line. This is a very clear play. ROST could get maybe 1% lower, but ROST also has a history of reversing right in this area. So again, you have a good chance to wait a percent, but again, you have easily 5, 6, 7% of reward here. So again, risk missing the move for the best entry. Again, it's up to you. I think you got to chart this yourself for sure. But ROST, a great looking trend. If it does have a red day tomorrow and pulls back 1% or 2%, you should be very happy to see that because ROST may be right where you want it. It's a good setup. Let's check the indicators. Off the bat, we can see the 200 EMA lines where there's going to be value. It breaks it, breaks it, breaks it. It did not. Oh, geez. It did not break it. So again, we may see some lower lows here. My assumption is the earnings call in 2 days may determine that. You may see it come down because of earnings and then come right back. So again, I would be careful with earnings. I don't like earnings, but if it does come down because of that, I wouldn't freak out too bad. RSI, it's low. Could be a little bit lower, but again, that's fine. Stochastic, not negative 40 yet, but it's getting down to where you want it. You want it at about negative 68, it looks like. Anywhere in here looks pretty good. It's getting there. It starts to curl north. That'll be a great sign. Bulls low, bears also fairly low. So if we do see bulls take over, it should really just beat up the bears, and it should be a really good move. ROST, I like it. Let's watch it this week. Let's watch for earnings. Maybe Friday or next Monday will be the best day. Let's see what happens. Next is an old call, SWM. I actually kept the price targets here to show you that it actually worked last time, not because I'm like self-conscious. But again, in this market, I find it so important that new traders, especially those who are swing trading, you got to set realistic goals. And I know it's hard for some of you whose mommy and daddy never told them no and to set goals and realism. I know it's hard for some of you, but it's really important to set realistic goals. If you're going to try and swing for the fences every single time, you're going to have a bad time. I'd say this all the time to the folks in my Discord and folks who watch this show. 10% reinvested 8 times is going to net you 100%. So if you really think getting a 100% move once is more realistic than 8-10% moves, get your shit together. Do this. It's much easier. So we can see clearly they got into our buying zone. All right, let's just be fair. Let's say you bought, you saw one candle look good. You would have made about, a 7% move. Put your stop loss by 2%, 5% move. Easy peasy, lemon mix squeezies. So this is really good. We do have lower highs, so be careful. But we have higher lows long term. So let's see what's going to happen here. It's kind of a triangle forming. A nice big move to these lower resistances, 10%. Not saying it's going to happen, but that would be nice. Really great uptrend. Zax.com, tip ranks, love SWM. It's a really good setup, a great trend line. Maybe it makes a triangle. Maybe it makes some form of a triangle here. This one's kind of busted right here. We'll see what happens. But SWM, a great value. Worst case, it breaks everything. 3% gone. It's not a bad risk at all. Let's check the indicators. So we can see the 50s being a real B word right here. It's really not letting us over it, right? We've all been there. Try and get in the club. The bouncer says, no, you need to have chicks. And me and my 8 dude friends can't get in. I've been there. So this is definitely being a little bit of a bouncer here, saying no. So you want to get closer to the 200 for value. Look at that. It gets close to 200 time for value. Well, right there. So it's a good value. We cross over the 50. You can probably go for a good day trade if that does happen. So again, both plays seem reasonable to me. RSI could be a bit lower, but again, it spends most of its time north of where we are right now. So that's a good sign. We're fair. We're coming down. There's a reverse around this area. Not really. The reverse is closer to like 20. So if we do come down negative 20 and see some life, that's more logical. Bulls low, bears meh. I think that SWM, given this price action, we may see a nice pullback of 1 or 2%. It may break this trend line a little bit, but again, the support play itself is what's there. And that's the beauty of proper convergence, is that even if the trend line breaks, the 200's there. That breaks, the support's there. That breaks, your volume profile line's there. If that breaks, you had 4 chances. It is what it is. SWM, a great set nonetheless. Last and not least is WY. This is like X, and I didn't call X because I'm an idiot. I was watching it, and then this happened. I was waiting for call the next day and did that. So I'm pretty pissed off about that. But WY is a very similar setup. Now, I know WY fairly well because I played it before. I already know the 200 EMA line's right over here somewhere. I already know for a fact it's over here. So that's a really good sign of convergence happening. A beautiful trend line. Once again, can we make this into a channel? Let's duplicate. Kind of. This is not really a great looking channel. You want to have this like higher and like this high. It's an okay looking channel. Maybe it's a broadening wedge, like that. Maybe from over here and up. Maybe it made a broadening wedge. Maybe it's making a triangle. We don't know. The resistance trend lines are not clear, but what is clear is that supporting trend line. You're gonna have to take. This is where the rubber meets the road, proverbially. Either you want to wait for the best possible buy-in, which is going to be about 2.5% lower, which it does often. It does usually hit the bottom of this channel, right? But that means you're going to lose some supports. Maybe this is the support you want to play off of, like right here, this area, right? But you want to wait for the full move? Sure, but there's a good chance WY may make a big move up sooner than later. Let's check the indicators. I want to see what it looks like. But again, WY, a little bit cheaper is fantastic. But even right here, anticipatory, not a bad play. So I knew this play fairly well. It likes to tap off the 200. This is a very much like the PSNL back in the day. Oh, sweet baby, I miss you. Look at this. I'll give her all my charting. Even though I called and it went up and did well again. Who knew? Look at that. Used to balance off the 200 like clockwork. Same with Surf. Oh my goodness. Surf was a snack. Oh my god, UPLD used to do the same exact thing. So, WY, I love these kinds of plays that go off the 200 really, really well. It just adds convergence. I mean, this is a great converging spot. You have your 200, support, trend line, volume profile line. You have 4 levels of support here. It breaks all that shit. It is what it is. You tried your best. So again, the 200, great value. You get back above the 50. Look at how it runs over the 50. Look at these 50 runs. Insane. It gets above the 50. 8% move right there. It gets over the 50. 19 over the 50, bounce up to 50, 4. So again, you get above the 50, you hold that bad boy until you can run, all you can. It'll be really good. RSI, exactly where you want it, maybe a bit lower, but again, that's pretty bottomed out. Stochastic is low. There's probably a divergence here in some form. I mean, maybe like here down, and then like here over is not the same. But again, it's so slight, I wouldn't worry about it. But again, bulls low, bears high. WY is really going to be the necessity here has to be your own charting. I mean, I did what I like to see. There's a really good chance that this support is probably like right where it is, like right there for some people. Then some folks are like, shut up, idiot, the support's down here, and we need to wait for it to come down a little bit farther. Both are fine. Everything is fine, but WY needs to be watched and studied. It's a great learning tool. And there you guys have it. 8 great plays for tomorrow into next week. Now, the main point of the show that I talk about a lot is that Wu-Tang's for the children, Wu-Tang. No, what I actually talk about usually is that this is a watch list show for educational purposes. I think these are fantastic plays. A lot of people find success with my plays. I know some folks I talk to just trade my plays. But again, the reason that they're successful is not because they copy my plays, but because they have their own system, their own edge that again applies to what I'm showing you. It's educational. So if you enjoy this kind of content, you want better tickers, you want some more content, if you're sick of seeing, God, I'm so sick of it. If you're so sick of seeing the same 5 tickers everywhere, oh my God, PLTR to the moon, CCIV to the moon, Tilray to the moon, JMIA to the moon, is Doge still doing good? If you're sick of that, if you're just wanting somebody to give you some straight up facts and cut the bullshit and just show you some good stuff, again, I suggest you subscribe and like these kind of things. I mean, content creators like me don't come around every single day, and I don't see many like me. There's a few I support. I actually go to their Patreon, support them. I don't even look at their stuff just to help them. But if you want to have quality content, you need to patron them, you need to support them, you need to like, subscribe, these kinds of things to really help some folks get motivated. Now, I'm pretty self-driven, but again, these things do matter. They do help us. So with that being said, have a good rest of your Tuesday. I forget what day it was. Enjoy the new haircut, gentlemen and ladies. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.